All right, gang. Welcome back to episode 14 of the Browns Place podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm right.
And we got Cubby. Say hi, Cubby. All right, we got some stuff to talk about. We'll go through some sports real quick, hit a little entertainment, and then we'll do our new episode of Gotta Be Better. So, football, what do we got for football? Draft coming up at the end of I guess next week. Not this week, but next week.
NFL draft?
Yeah, NFL draft coming up. So, there was something about football I wanted to mention, but I spaced it.
There's not a whole lot going on.
No, it wasn't about signing. Oh, did you see the thing about Brady saying that he would be
he'd be open to it?
Open to it.
Yeah, he'd probably be pretty
late
good still,
season.
too.
But there's a whole thing he's trying to be part owner of the Raiders too, though. So
yeah, so I don't
he
think
can't do it.
Yeah.
But they haven't approved that deal yet either. So
yeah.
But yeah. So another, I think, a week and a half until.
But he only listed certain teams. So like Niners, Raiders, Patriots.
Yeah.
Of those teams, I mean, you're probably looking at Patriots.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, they might bring him back.
But you think he would go to that though?
Oh yeah, that's what he said.
I don't see it.
You don't think so?
Well, I don't see them being as competitive for him to go back to it. Don't you think if he wants to go back, he's going to go to a, division leader or a competitive team just to get that other championship?
Those teams don't have. I mean, like unless Brock went down, then that's the only way you
Or
go back
do
to the
you-
Niners. No, you don't.
No.
They wouldn't stop Brock because I mean they tried to get Brady and he said he's gonna retire, but after what he did last year, they wouldn't stop Brock. But I don't think he would come back anyways because nobody's gonna. I don't know.
He sat out for a full year.
No.
He hasn't been hit. He's a year older.
Yeah.
He says he can still, he says he still works out. Says he can still,
I'm sure he
throw
still
it around,
throws the ball
but,
better than a good chunk of players.
It's
but
still,
that's
you're
a
not,
lot.
yeah. If you're not in full contact for a year,
Yeah, it's a lot.
I could see a hammy or something, going. So not that he was very mobile, but it was just interesting to hear him talk about it. That he could still do it, or he would be open for it. So
Other than that, though, not a whole lot going on in football.
no, not really.
It's off season,
It's
so,
just everything's just about the draft right now, and I think maybe some jockeying on moving up and trading picks, maybe.
Yeah, it might get more
before that.
interesting before the draft or after draft.
But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
So,
not so dead.
NBA final games today.
Regular
right?
season's over officially.
Regular season
Play-in
over.
starts on Tuesday.
So yeah, you got this is like the official kickoff of playoffs.
Yep.
So this is when this is when it gets exciting. So
Yep.
you don't want to be in the playoff game or the play-in game.
No, but I mean you have 4 real good teams in the playoff game in the West. So it's gonna be interesting.
But you should have played better during the season, not to be in the play-in game, right?
Well, if you think about it, so the Lakers finished 47-35, I think it is.
So 12 games over.
Yeah, 47-35. Last year, they were in the play-in game and finished with 43 wins.
Hmm.
So right now, at this point in the year, if they had the same record, they would be like the 4th seed. This was last year, so it just kind of shows. Yeah, I mean, you play better to not be in the play-in, but it's also it's a competitive conference.
The parity is it's up there.
I mean, there's a 3-way tie for first.
Yeah. So
up until this last game, which had never happened before.
But I think all roads go through Denver.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
it's still the team to beat.
I mean, yeah. Until someone knocks them off or something.
Unless there was a big injury or something. Yeah, that's the team to go through.
Yeah, I think.
Even though Boston had the best record, it's still Denver.
Yeah, but I mean, still Boston is one. I mean,
it's a weaker conference.
They always seem to do good in the season, but then once it gets to playoffs and someone doesn't shoot well because they're a jump shooting team, then it just kind of goes from there. I still think Denver is just a well-rounded team because they can go inside outside. So
it'll be interesting.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not handing it to Denver yet because obviously anything can happen. But
and there's great teams out there, but still.
So Warriors made it into the play-in game. So I mean,
Bulls
Bulls made it into the play-in game.
Bulls did make it.
And
are they the 10th?
they're 10th, yeah. And I mean, when they started the season and then 5 games into it, and
Yeah.
you know, they were already having team meetings and all that kind of stuff. I didn't think that this was even going to be an opportunity.
No,
so.
but there was a big disparity between the 10th and the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference. But
good for them. I mean, they're in it, and that's what the fans want. They want they want this kind of stuff. So
good players on the team, so you never know.
So next couple of weeks will definitely once get exciting. So once they get into the full swing. So college basketball men's UConn
UConn Center. Well, they won
back to back.
I guess we didn't talk about that. There you go, back to back.
Because before we did I think we were Final Four or something like that before.
Oh, that's right.
The last episode.
So,
men's beat Purdue.
Yeah.
So
they were the favorites too, and they pulled through.
So I mean, big win for them. Back to back championships.
And the center just declared for the draft too.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, but top 5 player. I guess.
So and kudos to UConn's coach, because when they were closing out that game, you see how he had his son dribbling the ball, and instead of running a play, he told the other coach, he's like, "Hey, I'm not going to run it," and the other coach is like, "No, you do your thing," and classy on both sides, because they could have been a prick and just chucked up a 3, or the other coach could have been, whatever. So
because it was a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, it was it ended up 15 points. Yeah. So I mean, it was just classy on both ends. I mean, it's just that's the way to go about it. I mean, there's no reason to chuck up a 3 or something just because of shot clock. I mean, the game's over. It's just you're winding it out. Let's just be good about it. So yeah, it's kudos to both those guys though. Both teams absolutely.
2 good programs.
Yeah. I mean, Purdue's always. I mean, last year they got shocked by the 16 seed, but I mean, but I mean, still,
they're always fighting in the tournament.
Player of the year, and they're always in it. So yeah, both programs very good. I think both men's and women's. We'll talk about the women's here in a second, but even the men's. I mean, the Final Fours, the Elite Eights, the Sweet 16s. I think they were all pretty.
I think
good.
it was a great tournament.
So yeah,
it's always a pretty good tournament.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're always going to get, your one sleeper team in there somewhere.
Yeah, like NC State was there, yeah.
So, I mean, which is good, because, I mean, that keeps it from just being the top, 4 teams all the time.
But that's what makes college basketball, for both men's and women's, the best playoff format.
Oh, yeah, really. Just because it's one and done, and, I mean, you never know.
It's all-out war.
Maybe the first 64 teams, that first round is kind of...
Yeah, but it's still...
But still, Purdue lost to a 16 seed, so I mean, anything can happen.
It's still entertaining because there's just basketball on all the time.
Yeah, and
everywhere.
I saw a stat like the 12 versus 5, because 12 always seems upset. It's like 35%.
Yeah,
a 12 will beat a 5, which is just crazy. So, but yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. It's just anyone can win that one game and knock whoever out. So,
you gotta be your best all the time. Every game.
Yeah. So you got to have 6 good games, pretty much, just to get there. So, but then once you get down to like the Final Four, I mean, it's like pretty much all. Usually, it's 1, maybe 2, 3 seed ranking in there. I think.
Yeah, there's usually a higher seed that ends up,
and that's what you would think, right?
Yeah, but I think this was the first year that ever 1-1 face each other in men's?
Was it?
I think so. I think it was first time in a long time.
Yeah, so
it was Purdue versus UConn, and they were 2-1s. It almost wasn't that, because NC State was there.
NC State, I mean, they were a 3, I think, right? I think they were a 3.
They were something. Yeah.
So I mean, they could have been a 3 versus 1. So who knows? But yeah, kudos to the March Madness, the men's, UConn. See if they'll go for number 3 next year.
I think they're favorites early right now.
I mean,
I think Duke might be the favorites right now. I think I just saw the early.
Really, because their big guy just declared too, Fliplowski.
Yeah, but they got 2 big high school prospects coming in. I guess they're supposed to be really good.
Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Big guy.
So.
Yeah, I mean that guy's been touted since.
I think he was like 14 or something. Yeah,
I mean he's just a monster. So good for those guys. So. Women's.
Another good tournament. Real good tournament.
Great tournament.
Great games.
Great games. I mean, all the games, all the way down to Final Four, the championship. What 19.8 million fans watched that championship
most
game?
viewed.
4 million more than the men's.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, that's just kudos to, and that's just not Caitlin Clark, but I mean, it's Dawn Staley and her program too.
Yeah, and then
it's LSU's and it's
UConn,
Michigan and UConn, USC with Juju, and you just got some great women playing basketball, and I think it's just because of one, social media, and then two, just the national television that they're getting.
Yeah, and also just the level that they're playing at.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got great seniors coming out, you got great freshmen coming in. It's just
it's level in the age, that they're playing.
They're set up for a while to where yes, Caitlin Clark's moving, but next year, Paige is going to be a senior, or this will be her last year. So
and Juju,
will be a sophomore, and
South Carolina, I think, has people.
Hannah Hidalgo will be a sophomore.
Yeah.
So I mean, women's is in pretty good shape right now. But kudos to South Carolina, Dawn Staley, coach.
Yeah, I mean that's the program to be at right now. That or UConn, I guess. There's always a consecutive.
The way they played, I mean, Iowa would have had to make pretty much every shot. They rebounded them like 52-29.
Yeah, because
so you're talking 23 rebound difference.
That team is huge.
And there's just you got two very large trees.
They dominate
down there.
the whole
So
interior.
I mean, it's just
So if you don't shoot lights out, there's
that's
no
the
way.
thing. I mean, you can't miss pretty much.
And no
and you're not
able to do it.
And you're not going to out rebound them. So I mean, it's just you gotta be lights out, all your threes, hitting all your free throws. It's just
playing defense
without fouling out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just but kudos to that team. I mean, they just that was a very good team.
It was impossible.
To go undefeated.
Yeah, they were undefeated. It was
undefeated championship. I think I think she got Coach of the Year. Right? Yeah. So I mean, it's just phenomenal, with her program and what she did. I mean, last year they got knocked out by Iowa in the Final Four, but this year to come back, and when you can go, what was it, 38 0? 38 0. I mean, they probably should have lost that Tennessee game in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Because they were down by 2 with a second and a half left or something like that.
Yeah.
And Cardozo hits the bank shot 3
to
go in. But that, I mean, other than that, that's probably the only game I think they would have, should have lost.
I mean, I know during the tournament they ran through everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
There was nothing.
There was some stressful points, maybe early on in the game.
Yeah.
But once it got to third quarter, it was pretty much done.
Yeah.
So but I mean, that's just.
It was similar with what UConn did. I mean, they kind of just dominated the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you got those programs to where, I mean, it's just automatic. I mean, as a player, I think that's where you want to go, is because you know where that program's going, but you also have to be an elite player, otherwise you're not playing either.
Yeah,
right?
Well, the women's.
So
women's. It's always been dominated by South Carolina and UConn. It seems like the last few decades. So.
But I mean, kudos to Caitlin Clark, great year, player of the year, all the
Legendary
records, and what she's done for the game. But again, yes, it's her, but I just think it's the quality of all the other girls and all the other
it's not just
too.
her. She's probably
the
pioneer of it all.
But they're selling out. They sold out, all their home games are selling out. All the road games were selling out. And then practice for the championship, 17,000 people just to watch them practice.
It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. And then I think average ticket for the championship game was like $482 or something like that. So almost $500 just to get into that place for a basketball game. But I mean, that tells you what the demand is. It's just the supply and demand. I mean, they supplied it and everyone demanded it, and it's good for the girls, good for the women, and good for the game, good for the programs.
Yeah.
And kudos to Dawn Staley too on class.
Yeah, she's been
pure class.
You could tell that's how she operates, and that's what she promotes in her program too, for sure. Because none of those girls really act out.
Yeah, I mean,
or women that really act out.
Even when they had the fight, with LSU, she apologized and she said, "Hey, this shouldn't have happened. It happened, but we apologize, blah blah blah." And that was the right road.
You can imagine she probably didn't take lightly to that either.
Yeah,
behind closed doors.
And I'm sure
the players heard about it. Yeah.
Because there's probably a level of expexpectation and that
it's like a Coach K kind of thing.
Yeah,
it really is like a Coach K kind of thing. Yeah.
But just very classy.
Yeah.
The way she handles it.
It's like a Coach K Saban. There's a certain etiquette and demeanor you carry around in that program.
Well, I mean, you're representing the program, you're representing the school, you're representing the fans, you're representing
the coaches,
the team and the coaches and the athletic department and all of South Carolina sports and South Carolina the state and all the other fans that follow South Carolina. So it's just, but what she had to say about Caitlin being the GOAT, and I just think she didn't have to say that.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone put her up to say that.
No.
She could have just talked about, winning the championship and, blah, blah, blah. But for her to take out the 2 minutes, I think was just class.
Well, yeah, because it's like you said, it's not just Caitlin Clark, but she arguably brought the attention.
No. People want to see her score 40. They want to see her shoot logo threes.
With the way that she plays her game and carries herself, that's what has drawn all this attention in the first place. And then the other players being as great as they are too is what's kept the attention. So I don't just because Caitlin's leaving, I don't think women's basketball is going to tank. No.
I still think they're on the uprise for the product. So. Good for them.
Yeah.
WNBA draft tomorrow, which is Monday the 15th. 15th. Obviously, she's projected to go first to Indiana.
Yeah.
You see, they've already 36 of their games will be nationally televised.
Really?
Yeah. Out of 40, and then Vegas, when they play the Aces in July, had to move to a bigger arena. They're moving to the T-Mobile Arena.
Oh, really?
Just to fit more fans.
Nice.
So, what does that tell you? So,
that'll be
again, the supply and demand, everyone wanting to see Caitlin Clark and, that's going to be, they got the first pick last year, too, with Aaliyah Boston. So, they've got some players. They're going to have some players on there. Now, is her game going to be different in the WNBA versus...
Yeah. You play pro sports versus kids. It's always going to be different.
There was, some veteran WNBA players talking about, there's going to be a transition.
Yeah, but I don't
You're not playing kids, you're playing grown women. And we'll kind of talk about that. But also, is she going to be able to play as freely as she did in Iowa with Indiana? I don't know. Maybe those conversations are having prior to her being drafted too.
That's on the staff and coaching too.
And maybe even the existing players that are there.
But
she's also an assist leader too, though. So if you're Aaliyah Boston, you're good with her.
She can affect the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah. They're guarding her outside. That frees you up inside, and she's going to pass it to you. So
well, it's also like professional. Organizations are ran a lot differently than college programs. Like Gino, people were always saying Gino would never allow Caitlin Clark to kind of grow up and stuff like that. Just because that's the way it's ran. In professional organizations, they'll usually pivot around the player.
Yeah,
so they may give her complete freedom.
It wasn't like Phil told Michael what not to or what.
Exactly.
Don't shoot or
Yeah, it was like you build around that person, and you play your game off of how that person operates. So they very well could.
They could. I mean, it could be a Shaq and Kobe type of, they got the big person inside, good guard outside, and, see what happens. So, but road still goes through Vegas, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
a juggernaut team.
That's just, that team's just a monster. So,
Yeah.
but it'll be, I think this is the first year where it's kind of like there's so much anticipation, and like everyone's just wanting to see it. And again, we've kind of talked about this with the pay equality and all that kind of stuff. Where but no, I think it's good for the WNBA. Absolutely.
It's good for women's basketball.
Good for
as a whole.
Women's sports in general.
Women's sports, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just not basketball. I mean, I think, was it Nebraska's volleyball team? I think had like 100,000 people or something like that. Some insane number at one of their home matches. But yeah, just women's sports in general, good for them. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, pick. I think they have Cameron Brink is second to. I've seen some flip flopping. Like LA Sparks has the second pick, and they got Cameron going there, and then third pick was Chicago, and I've seen some say. Is it Jakia Jackson, I think, out of Tennessee?
Okay.
And then fourth pick was Sparks again, taking Cardoso. But then I saw someone else saying where they flip-flopped 3 and 4, where Cardoso went to Chicago, and then Jakia Jackson went to L.A. So, but then you had some other, like 6 through 10 were pretty consistent. So Angel Reese was, I think, 7 in there.
Yeah.
So Aaliyah Edwards, I think she was 5 or 6 going on that one. So yeah, there might be
Sparks
some.
got 2 top 4
They
picks.
they do have, because it's Sparks have 2 and Chicago has 2.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Chicago has 2?
Yeah.
That's kind of
So
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy.
We never see that in.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of trades that they've done or something.
It has to be. There's no way they just have that. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I think in the first 7 or 6, maybe 6 picks, I know 2 for Sparks, 2 for Chicago.
This could be a super transformative draft for WNBA.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some huge names coming from college going in there.
If you go Brinks and Cardosa to the Sparks,
Yeah.
that's 2 large women.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance we look back at this draft class like as the best ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, be looking forward to it tomorrow, and we'll be watching. So, yeah, good for everyone. So,
another good tournament.
So yeah, that's it for women's basketball, college basketball. A bunch of people that are declaring for the draft and all that leaving early. That's the one thing that I think makes women's college basketball better, is because as a freshman, say like Juju, you can root for her for 4 more years.
That's what LeBron was
USC,
saying. Yeah, he was like, you have the ability to create legacy at these places.
Because the men's, it's a one and done.
Yeah.
Women, you have to be there 4 years, or you have to be 22.
Yeah.
Which is 4 years. So, and I think that just as a fan, especially now with everyone kind of moving around and trades and all that kind of stuff, if you can root for that one person from for 4 solid years, I just think you're more invested into that team and into that sport. So kudos. I think that's a plus for the women's basketball. So,
yeah, definitely.
LeBron was saying the same thing on that?
Yeah, he said it. They have on his own podcast with JJ Redick.
No. Okay.
He was saying that they have the option to create, this big legacy, and that's why it becomes such a big thing, because they actually get to stay in college and don't have to worry about first year opt-outs and all that stuff like that. So
then it's just the portal.
Yeah.
Do you like the portal?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I have nothing against it.
Because old school portal, you could transfer, but then you'd have to sit out a year.
Right.
And then you could go.
Right, which I don't like.
Now it's a portal. You could just jump ship and go school to school if you wanted, I guess.
Yeah.
So, which is probably good in some, because some probably maybe pick the wrong program to go to.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like, they're still kids too. If it's not a good place for you to be, then I think you should have the ability to go somewhere else.
And this has nothing to do with. I'm just naming one person that comes to mind is Haley Van Lith.
Yeah, she's doing it
She
twice
was
now.
she was a monster at Louisville.
Yeah.
Led them in scoring, over 20 points a game. Then goes to a bigger program, LSU. Proven winner.
Yeah.
But then she doesn't.
Her role flipped.
Yeah, the role flipped and the game kind of changed, so she didn't have that impact year of probably what she was expecting. So I think the portal helps her because now she can go back to find another program to where she can play her game and do her thing. So I don't think it's anything bad about LSU. I just think it's just the player and the program.
Yeah. No, I got nothing against the portal.
Yeah. Do you think? What about the one and done with the college men's? Do you like that? Do you know? Do you want them to change that?
No, because well, it's different now because there's NIL deals and stuff like that, so players can get paid.
Yeah.
That was my biggest, in support of it, was because you're playing in college, but you're not getting paid anything.
Yeah. And these colleges are making a shit ton of money.
Yeah, and anything could happen to you
Right.
where you lose your career.
Right.
So if you have the ability to go one and done, and I think the women should be able to have it too. But I also agree that players staying for long periods of time and building a legacy in their college organization, in the college program is.
But do you also
great
think
too.
that those guys are ready for the pros?
Some are.
I think some aren't.
I think most aren't.
I think you need, because you're talking about 18-year-old kids.
Yeah. Well, 19.
18, 19-year-old kids,
Yeah.
right? You still need to, you're still going through body changes. You're still going through life changes.
But you see with
you haven't experienced out of your home yet.
Yeah. But if you look at someone like Chet, or Wemby, he was overseas, but it's the same situation. If he was in college, he would have been out. There's a lot of great players that go out. And same thing with the high school thing. LeBron came out of high school. Kobe came out of high school. Those guys went there.
Do you like that you're able to go from high school to NBA?
Well, you can't anymore.
They did away with. You had to go 1 year, right?
Does it? Yeah.
Okay.
You can't anymore. Or you can do another.
Or you can do
you
G
cannot
League,
go to
right?
college. Yeah, you cannot go to college and go to G League, but
do
you
the
can't
G
go straight
League.
to the NBA.
What about G League versus college?
That I don't really understand. You still get paid.
You get paid for G League.
So I get that, and you play against pros.
And you're playing against pros.
Professional players. But
and your focus is 100% basketball.
Yeah, you don't do any school.
You don't do any schooling.
Yeah,
you don't do anything else. You don't, just the academics is out of it. The whole,
So I get it. But I think college gets more recognition than G League.
But, if you're only in it for 1 year, the college, why go to college, I guess, instead? Why not just go to the G League? Because it's not like you're there for the education.
Yeah, but this also depends on these high school players, too. Because not all these players are getting super high levels of recognition out of high school. They usually get recognition, but then once they go to college and they do great in their first year, then that's when they get boosted in their stock and everything.
Yeah, but do you think someone could go to the G League and focus 100% on basketball every day?
Yeah.
Be better for...
I think so.
So, yeah, I don't know. That one's kind of a iffy situation.
I have no problem with any of it. I don't mind the first year opt-out. Because it is better for the player, probably. More times than not, it's better for the player. Because they'll get paid more. They start getting endorsements, and then
I don't know.
You get to play pro basketball, which is the dream.
I know, but why do it for the men but not let the women?
Well, that's what I said. I think the women should be able to have it too.
I just think if it, why the two different rules, I guess.
But it goes both ways because if the women got that, then the women's recognition that I got this year would not have happened.
Yeah,
Probably.
true. I mean,
For all we know,
you know,
because who knows what would happen with Caitlin Clark and
She
Andrew Reese
could
and all
have
these
left her
ones,
freshman year or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know,
So
records wouldn't have been broken.
records definitely would have been
Yeah.
broken. That's why there's never any men's records really being broken.
Yeah, because they're not there
usually
long
gone.
enough.
Yeah, they're usually leaving.
That's true.
So,
So good for college basketball. We'll wait till November till it kicks off, or October, I guess, October, November. So baseball, we're in what, week 3-ish? Yeah,
yeah, we're
pretty much. So
about 17 games in.
yeah. So any surprises so far
Uh,
other than injuries?
yeah, injuries is the only real surprise. But I think in terms of teams, except Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah, but they
Pittsburgh
also
did this
last year. They started out hot and then came back to reality.
Yeah.
But I mean, they got some good young
It's a
pitching.
good
too.
young core.
But
And there's guys down there that are
Pittsburgh has always had good pitching.
Yeah.
Because look at the number of guys that are, out on the league everywhere else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a matter of them getting the good pitching with the good hitting, and they've never been able to do that.
Yeah.
But
now they have some good hitters too.
But yeah, I mean, O'Neill. I mean, there's some.
Brian,
Key Brian Hayes. I mean, Brian Reynolds is still there. So I mean, they got. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're too far. As long as their pitching can, stay and keep coming up. But just the amount of pitchers that they've had on that staff. Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
Musgrove.
Yeah.
Snell. Was it Snell?
I think he came through Tampa.
Did he come through Tampa? There was someone else then. I want to say he was a lefty. I thought it was Snell. But oh man, who was it? I think he was on San Diego. I can't remember. But no, I mean they've had number of key pitchers on that staff.
Garrett Cole one is still like the crazy one.
So yeah, good for them.
That's the only surprise really in terms of teams. I think every team is performing.
Yeah, well, there's some dog teams.
Yeah, well, like there's teams
White
not
Sox.
performing. Yeah, White Sox. But we kind of figured the White Sox would be good because they weren't good
Marlins?
last year. Yeah, Marlins are a big one, but they just have so many injuries. I mean,
A's or the A's. So what do you think about?
They have a better record than the Giants.
What do they really?
They're 7-9 right now.
Okay, so what does
Giants
that
are
say about the
6-9.
Giants then?
Yeah, not a good start.
Bob Melvin?
Bob Melvin's going to be under fire if he doesn't turn it around because the team can't hit.
Well, that's what I thought from the beginning. I thought that team was never set up to hit or to hit home runs. Other than Soler.
Well, no, because the home runs are okay. It's the runners in scoring position where they can't hit. But they hit, but they're not driving in runs. It's driving everyone crazy.
You can't just cut Bob Melvin. I mean,
no, I mean it's too early. It's also
again, it's week 3.
It's pretty much a whole team switch. Too,
week 3, so I just didn't like the.
So it's no reason.
I didn't like the roster personally, but it is what it is.
Rough start to the year.
Injuries, pitchers.
Now that is a big surprise because it's a lot.
And there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's because of the pitch clock," and they're rushing the pitch clock and they're rushing the pitchers and
I don't think
all
it has
that.
anything to do with that.
I mean, you're talking 2 seconds, 3 seconds difference. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
but we had a whole last year and there weren't that many many as there are now.
So, but I mean, there's some key pitchers that are out right now.
Some big pitchers.
So, I don't know. I don't know if that has anything correlation or if it's lack of preparation during spring. If it's
I think it
off-season training.
I think it has to do with the fact that everyone's throwing 100 miles an
hour.
hour.
Or everyone's trying to throw 110 miles an hour.
Maybe stop trying to throw it as hard as you are. As hard as you can.
Yeah.
It's not always necessary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great pitchers out there that don't throw 100 miles an hour.
If you can throw 93 or 95 and
move the ball,
put it on the on the edges and hit your spots.
That's kind of all you need to do. You're still Logan Webb is a great pitcher. He doesn't throw 100.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, but those guys that do throw hard, say like DeGrom, Scherzer, Stride,
Cole, yeah.
Yeah, all those guys, it's just.
It takes a lot off your
The
arm.
throwing motion is not normal.
No, it's not a natural motion.
Yeah, it's not a natural motion. So for you to try to do that and throw the ball 100 miles an hour, it's just so much stress and so much strain. So, but yeah, it's just.
But yeah, I've seen people blame the pitch clock, the sticky stuff.
Going out, I guess,
there's nothing to do with
this early. I mean, because injuries always happen in baseball because it's such a long season. And that's why I've always said you can't have enough pitching.
No.
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 Position people, you can, fill in here and there, but pitching, you can't have enough pitching. No. If you went with, 6 or 7 starters, I guarantee at some point in the year, you're going through, 7 starters at least. So, so, I mean.
You need arms in this day and age.
Yeah.
Because everyone's just throwing way too hard.
Yeah. So, what about A's going to Sacramento for 3 years?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
not an A's fan.
Are they going to keep it Sacramento A's? Is it going to be Oakland A's? It's going to be.
I don't know. I think they'll still be Oakland A's.
Just Oakland A's, but they're just playing in Sacramento.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like a Niner situation.
Yeah.
For San Francisco Niners, but they play in Santa Clara. I think it'll be like that, and it's temporary too. They're going to Vegas
for 3 years, though.
Yeah, but they will be there. For
3 years they're playing there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I just don't understand. I don't know why not just stay in Oakland. To be honest, it's a horrible stadium. I get that, but
do you get more draw? I guess in Sacramento.
I don't see how you can get more draw.
I wouldn't think so either, but I mean, I don't know.
But I mean,
you got the River Cats there, and I think that's where they're going to share the stadium with the River Cats. And is that No, that's Giants, right? Giants AAA team.
And then the River Cats might play at O.co.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't understand.
So they're going to flip flop? They're just going to trade?
Yeah. So it doesn't really make any sense to me. But I don't know. It's no big deal to me. But
you would think that they would just, the city of Oakland and Oakland A's would just find some way to gel together for 3 years until they actually move.
Yeah.
And then.
I don't know how it's bad for the city of Oakland, because people are going to pay.
Is it costing them money to?
I guess to maintain the stadium, or do whatever they're doing.
They're not maintaining the stadium,
at all, but
I mean, do they keep the lights on and water the grass and all that kind of stuff?
Yes.
But
I don't know.
Who knows? But I was surprised when I heard about it, because I was at a national meeting and I saw the thing that said Oakland A's signing with Sacramento to play there for 3 years.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense, but
it's crazy. But baseball. Well, I mean, again, it's easy to push the panic button. I mean, trust me, I could push the panic button on our bullpen right now. Blowing an 8-run lead in the 6th inning is bad.
That's bad baseball.
But it's one of those.
So early.
It's reactional. It's like that's one game out of 162.
So early.
So, again, that if we miss the playoffs by one game, then we'll probably
maybe you can look back.
We'll look back at that.
How did we
on week 2? How did we blow that? But yeah, I mean,
there's going to be many more games that you look back on and say we should have won. Or many games that say, can't believe we won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's like, it'll even out in the long run.
Game today against the Mariners.
Yeah. I mean,
very arguably should have probably lost that game.
First and second, 8th inning, right? Bases loaded in the 8th inning. 7th inning was first and second. Bases loaded in the 8th.
No outs.
And we got out of it.
Yeah.
So it's just that game we should have lost. So
and ended the game on a pickoff.
Yeah. So but yeah, baseball's in its stride, so weather will start getting warmer, so that'll be nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the west coast of California. It just got done raining all weekend, so it's just kind of cold and shitty, but I think next week's supposed to start warming up, so we'll get that spring and summer, weather feeling, so that'll be good. NHL hockey should be winding down.
Yeah, they should be in playoffs here.
Probably.
Don't think next week, but
Not
this upcoming week, but I think next week.
Yeah.
I think they're in the playoffs. So.
That's when I start getting into the hockey. Is when is once they get to playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm just not a huge hockey follower until the playoffs start. But
yeah.
What else for sports? We got women's soccer. They won the
women's
Cup. She Believes Cup.
They won the She Believes Cup for the 7th year in a
row
or something like that.
Crazy game.
Yeah.
Crazy game. Just
against Canada.
Against the Canada. Yeah, 2-2 tied, and then
Canada
shootout, and it's just going back and forth. It's just it was a good game.
Yeah.
Now, should have been 2-2. I don't know. There was that call.
It was a really bad call.
Horrible
call. She doesn't step on her.
No.
Doesn't even really touch her. It's a dive, really.
Yeah.
So it could have been a yellow for the player, but.
Or it could have been just a no call.
Or a no call. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Women still, ended up winning. Good for them.
Yep. And they're in season now, too.
Yeah. They got their professional season going now. So good for them. What else we got going on with sports?
I think that's it, but golf.
Golf. That's what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, you can see Masters hat because it was Masters weekend.
Sure was.
Any surprises on?
Absolutely none.
No.
Absolutely none.
If you guys all know, I mean, I'm sure you guys know, but Scotty Scheffler wins it pretty easily once he got through the last few holes, I guess. I mean, they were. I mean, there was a four-way. There was a four-way tie.
It was neck and neck for the whole weekend until that ninth hole.
And then people started double bogeying, and he just never made any mistake. No big mistakes. I mean, we were kind of talking about he's like just aim for the center of the green, and he's still seeking for pins. Yeah. So it's like, when he's on, and right now, there's two golfers that are on right now. That's Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, I mean, there's just
huge gaps in the next.
I mean, Nelly's won 4 tournaments in a row. Yeah. Now Scotty, he had 3, and then now plus the Masters.
4,
so it's just unbelievable, and just where they're at in their game right now.
They're crazy levels.
Surprises on, say, the top 5 on the Masters?
For men's, yeah, for sure. Because Colin was a surprise.
Yeah.
Because he's been playing bad. Max was a surprise because he never plays good in majors, really.
Yeah.
He's been doing better, but not top. What do you finish? What do you finish, 4th?
I think you're 4th, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a surprise. Ludwig's kind of a surprise.
Ludwig, since he's still young and this was his first one.
Yeah, he's a surprise.
So, I mean,
we knew he was a stud, but...
Yeah, but to go to the Masters and
first time,
and be in competition, and competing with Scotty,
that's definitely a surprise.
That's
and then there's surprises at the bottom end. I mean, Brooks being not playing well, Rombo not playing well. Those are.
And you can't really blame it on the live because there was live guys that played well. Bryson was up there he led.
Yeah, no, it's not really.
So I think there was this. Well, the whole live golf is only 54 holes instead of 72 holes or whatever.
Whether that is the case or not, Brooks and Rombo at least are always.
Yeah, but by
guys.
day 2, they were already
out of it.
Yeah, they were already a +4, +5.
Weekend.
So no matter if you're on live or PGA, there's still 2 rounds.
Yeah, they played horrible the whole weekend, so it really didn't matter.
But what about the miscuts? The Jordan Spieth, the Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, and there's a number of live guys that didn't make it either. But Tiger finishing dead last.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a surprise.
Made the cut, finishing dead last.
Well, it's just because it's Tiger, it's a surprise. But I think it's more surprising that he made the cut.
Well,
and that he finished.
I'll be honest, 100%, and I was very vocal about it. I did not think he was going to make the cut. I didn't think that he would be able to compete.
I thought he'd struggle to get past day 1.
After, what we've seen so far, this year, or even part of last year, he pulled out of Genesis, and I thought for sure he wasn't going to make the cut. And then if he did make the cut, I thought he'd WD by Saturday, maybe into Sunday.
So that's why I wasn't surprised
about
him finishing.
Kudos to him that he was able to finish, but shooting an 82 on Saturday isn't very good.
No, that's not good.
You hate to see it, but that's where his game's at. We kind of talked about it off air. Is just you got to play more. I mean, obviously, physically, you probably can't, but you just can't show up to Masters and think you're going to compete.
No.
There's just no way.
No.
I would even say that for Scotty. If Scotty just said, "Hey, I'm not playing any other tournaments except for the 4 majors," I'm like, nah.
I would say maybe he doesn't win, but I bet you probably still find a way to finish top 10 with the way he is right now. He's just at another level.
Yeah, I mean, so Tiger finished dead last on it.
I didn't think that was surprising, though.
Plus 16, I think it was.
Yeah, I was really more surprised with the fact that he got through it and that he made the cut.
Record setting for making the cut.
Yeah, broke that record. Yeah.
But I also feel like it was more of him trying to make the cut for the record than him actually competing in the Masters.
I don't think it was really that, because I don't think it's a dumber record of the records that he has.
Yeah, but I mean,
records.
Going into it, I just don't see him competing at that level.
Well, the thing is that he was competing, though. I mean, going into the weekend, he was at +1.
+1, so he was 8 shots back.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, at the Masters, we saw people fall off, saw people climb. I mean, all he needed to do was not shoot an 82. Say he shot a 73, he's only at +2 or something like that. So, I mean, you're not going to beat Scotty.
Yeah.
So, there's that, but that's still competing. Because there's guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, he beat a bunch of guys that
who play all the time and are 20 years younger than him.
Didn't make the cut.
Didn't make it, yeah.
So, yeah, no, I get that, but I just, I want to see, if Tiger's going to play, I want to see him play well. If he's not going to play well, I'd rather not see him play at all.
Yeah. Well, that's what was good, because the first 2 rounds, he did really play well. I thought he played well. But then you go and shoot an 82, you're out of it.
Yeah, you shoot an 82 and then a 78 after that, you're screwed. There's no way.
There's nothing to do about
especially when guys are shooting 68 and 70. I think Scotty ended up 68 today on his final round. So
probably.
Even Bryson started out 65.
Yeah.
And Scotty shot 66. Yeah. So I mean, right there,
But we didn't say anything about Scotty. We were talking about Bryson 65 because we knew Scotty was going to shoot low.
But I thought Bryson was going to do well just because, I mean, he won a couple times last year and he's been playing good. I thought Brooks would have been right up there.
He's probably
obviously, I think Scotty was going to be up there, but I mean, yeah, I mean,
I really think like Rombo and
I thought Brooks, Rombo was going to be, a little better.
I thought they were going to be top 5 finishers, and that's probably what I'm most surprised and disappointed with.
Yeah.
Is that those guys just played so bad.
Compared
to the rest of the field.
So, what's the next major now? Is it PGA?
Yeah.
And when is that?
That is in
June. June.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I think it's PGA in June, and then July has the Open, and then I think August is
U.S. Open.
U.S. Yeah. We close out with the U.S. Open.
No, I think that's right. So Tiger says that he's gonna get back into it and
still going for once a month. So we'll see what the next one is.
I mean, I just think you got to play more golf than what he is. Yeah. More competition golf, not practice golf with.
Yeah, I don't doubt the
JT
practice golf
and all those guys. I don't think that's helping you.
You got to play 4 rounds.
You got to play walking. 4 rounds. You got to walk, and it's got to be competitive.
Yeah.
We can all go out and just practice and hit shots or whatever, but you got to have the crowd. You got to have the pressure. You got everything.
Conditions. All that
exactly.
Stuff,
the conditions weren't great this weekend.
No.
I mean, the wind was blowing, and then
the
greens were fast, and all that.
It was supposed to rain.
Yeah, I mean, at least there wasn't rain and all that this weekend.
But the wind, the first 2 days was
that's crazy,
destructive.
And then for those guys to come out, low.
Yeah. I mean, which is what doesn't make sense to me, that he shot as bad as he did on the 3rd day.
When it wasn't that bad.
Not nearly as bad as it was the first 2 days.
Yeah.
I just the fatigue.
I just think that's I think that's conditioning.
Yeah, doesn't
and he's just not, he's not there. Yeah. So.
But yeah, we'll see. See if the once a month thing happens.
Do you think that's one, do you think it's feasible? And then two, do you think that's enough?
Enough of what?
Golf.
To win?
To compete.
I think it's enough to
Because
compete.
he's using the once a month just to get ready for the following tournament, right? Or the following
I think so.
major, right?
Yeah.
I don't think him playing one time in May is going to get him ready to play the PGA in June.
No, but I think it's more so for like the conditioning aspect. I think it
But
would
when
be
you're
bigger
only
for
playing
that.
once a month, I think you almost have to do every other week. Because you
I don't know if he'll ever do
you
that.
have that week off, you can, and then you can get back into it. But I mean, it's like you work out once a month.
Yeah, but that's.
I mean,
I don't know about that because like pro players basically play once every week or every other week right now. Arguably, I don't think Tiger can do that kind of level.
I just don't. I mean, you're talking 8 weeks, so he's going to play in 4 weeks, have 3 weeks off, and then play the major. Yeah. I just think that's.
I mean, I don't think we're not talking about him winning. I don't see him winning right now in any tournament.
I don't see it either. I think he should just go to the Champions Tour and then once he's eligible, take the cart, go dominate on the Champions Tour. Because I mean, you're not competing in the PGA Tour right now.
Well, that's the only good thing about the Champions Tour is that you can take the cart.
Yeah. And maybe that's what helps him, and it helps him in conditioning and all that. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scotty, monster, just
he's the best in the world, and it's not even close.
You know, and then he's having his first child too, so that's good for him, good for good life for them.
He's making a lot of cash too.
A lot of cash. Did you see about? He was saying that if she was going to go into labor, that he would just drop everything and go.
Yeah, it must be nice.
I mean, I just say if you're up 2 shots, 3 holes to go, you get the call. You have the Masters jacket almost halfway on, and you gotta. Oh, I gotta go.
I mean, the other field was probably hoping the call would come because it was really the only chance.
I mean, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
That's a tough call.
I'm glad that didn't happen because
it's on the personal side, obviously, childbirth is bigger than life is bigger than golf. So you want to be there for your first child being born.
But as a competitor, that's
as
tough.
a competitor though, when you can see the finish line, and then you're told that you got to
for the tournament of the year. That's a big,
so yeah,
big thing.
Glad it didn't happen. We didn't have, but it'd be interesting to see if it did. I mean, would he have really done it? I don't know.
I mean, he says it. He probably would have. It's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
So he probably would have. He has won it already too.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. It'd have been interesting to see.
It would have definitely been entertaining.
Yeah. But yeah.
Scotty Chef.
Golf, anything else other than sports? No? Okay. Entertainment wise, what do we got for entertainment?
Nothing really.
It's been pretty quiet. Huh?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. We're coming up on summer, so there will be more movies coming out and stuff like that.
Yeah, but now like TV shows, it's kind of
wrapping up. Yeah,
they're wrapping up their spring season. Nothing will come out until fall.
Yeah, their hiatus will come soon.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some shows that are ending too that I'm kind of watching right now. So it's like SWAT. I was a big fan of SWAT, and that one's ending. So, but yeah, it's been kind of quiet. So
not much going on.
All right. What about like Beyonce and her country album? Mm-hmm. Didn't she win an award, or isn't that like one of the top albums of the year right now, or something like that?
Well, I'm sure it's like one of the most streamed albums.
Yeah, I heard
right now
something.
Coachella's going on too.
Oh, Coachella, yeah. You know what? It was weird because I didn't hear anything prior to this weekend about Coachella.
Really?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. Like I haven't heard like who's performing down there. I haven't heard like the Kardashians talking about going there or anything
Some
like
big
that. Big
names. I mean, the Kardashians were there.
Yeah, I saw.
Beavers were there.
Something. O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah. OJ died.
I mean, that kind of,
Cancer.
entertainment and sports. So
Yeah.
that's, 76, died of cancer.
Yeah,
I mean,
died of cancer.
just, I mean,
Pretty
whatever
crazy.
you believe or not believe, what happened.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just O.J. Simpson. Holy shit.
It's a big name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just...
Pretty surprising, too, because I don't think any of us knew he had cancer.
No, I mean, I think he was living in Florida or something like that, right?
Yeah,
I think that's where after he got in trouble in Vegas and all that, I think he had to get out of Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I will say, maybe we shouldn't talk about this, but we'll mention it. So whether you believe that he was innocent or guilty, okay, I think a lot of people think that he was guilty, but found innocent, okay? Whether you believe that or not, okay. But after that, wouldn't you just like lay low and kind of disappear and just play golf and stay away from the light and stay away from trouble?
Yeah, you would think. And he definitely did.
But instead, he finds trouble,
Yeah.
gets into trouble, then goes to prison for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I mean,
It was pretty crazy.
it's tough to root for the guy when, okay, you think that he was guilty. All the signs kind of led to him being guilty.
Yeah.
He's proven innocent, okay? Jury of his peers, whether it be wrong or right. And that was,
Was it 95?
yeah, I mean, that was in the key of, there was the Rodney King thing going on. There was some
It was a big deal.
social stuff going on.
Yeah.
So for him to be able to find innocence and for being a African American male,
Yeah. Sports. Athlete, too. Yeah.
and then with the prior allegations that he had in his marriage,
Yeah.
with the abuse and stuff like that, I mean, I would just think that the camera and people in public, that would be the last thing that you're doing. But instead, you get into trouble.
Yeah.
So it's just,
He
I don't
still
know.
stayed pretty involved in
Yeah, it's just, I
the
don't
media.
know. I mean,
Despite it all.
if I was in his shoes or, some of these other guys I would be staying far away from the public as possible.
You would think you would just
But,
stay out of it as
yeah.
much as you can, but
all right. So that's my little rant
Yeah,
on that.
okay.
But, P. Diddy. So anyways, you gotta be better. Our segment of, hopefully you guys like this, and I think it's been pretty cool so far. Do you have anything for you gotta be better? I've got a couple.
do I? None that I can think of right now.
I've got Ellis.
Actually, I do. The MLB and the MLB Players Association, I think they both need to be better. Because they need to figure out their whole disagreement with this pitch clock situation and everything. Because all I've heard is that they're not even close with their negotiations about it.
Well, what are they negotiating?
They've been negotiating
On what though?
on the pitch clock.
I thought it's already settled.
Oh, did it settle?
No, I thought they're doing pitch clock.
Yeah, no, but they're in shambles right now because players are saying it's too short.
Quick, right?
Yeah, it's too quick. MLB saying too bad, and it's a whole thing. Right
People
now.
want
It's a whole
shorter
controversy.
games.
Yeah, like people want shorter games. It's been successful. Blah blah blah. All this stuff, and so that's what I would say. They need to be better and figure it out.
Okay. No, I mean, you just went to a Giants game. How long was that?
I don't know how long it was, but it felt quick. No, yeah.
So
I agree.
you can get in and out of that game in 2.5 hours?
Oh, less than that.
Less than that?
Way less than that.
So,
well, I'll say, like, you can't go to a game and go get a beer, get a food, or anything like that without missing at least an inning.
Well, and I think that's what it's made for, right? I mean, that's what it was, to speed up the game.
Right, and it
so,
works.
It
works
It doesn't drag
from-
on for 3.5,
Yeah.
4 hours.
Like, it's
So-
great for, like, TV perspective,
Yeah.
game's done. But, as a fan, you enjoy going to the ballpark and being at the ballpark and
doing
the motions and experience and having the experience. You pay a lot of money.
Oh, well, that was the
You wanna
one thing
enjoy
I
the
was going to say.
experience.
You spend, say a family of 4,
Yeah.
if you want good seats, you're going to, with food, parking, and tickets, you're probably spending $1,000. So,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
$1,000, well, and then you have souvenirs or whatever, and
whatever
all that
else you're
other
buying.
stuff. So $1,000 for 2 hours of entertainment.
That's 2 hours if you just sit there and don't go
Yeah,
anywhere too.
so
and
that's
just watch the
just
game. That's no bathroom breaks, no going to get food. Or
yeah,
just
because you
getting
said
food
the
from people.
crab sandwich line was
it was
super
packed.
long.
Yeah.
So I mean, what if you had to wait in that line? How much?
Oh, you probably missed 2-3 innings. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's
Easy.
just
And mind you, this is a sport that doesn't have a halftime or something like
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
So that's where I don't like the pitch clock, or it should just be extended or longer.
But then how do you speed up the game? Is it
Well, I think
well?
you
They've already
still
cut down
speed
the
up the
mound
game,
visits
though.
because I think they
Yeah.
went down to 5. I think now.
Yeah, and
So,
the time too.
I still think like replay's got to be a little quicker. I'd like
Yeah.
replay to be quicker.
They do have to be quick.
I don't know. I would just because like I saw a thing about like in the minors with their automated strike zone where they do the challenge. Dude, it's like instant. They get the umpire like turns around, challenge, and then like right then and there.
I've never understood
you know.
in any sport what takes so long.
So, I mean, if you can't figure it out, say within 30 seconds or something, just call what the call was then.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it happened today. In the
Yeah,
Kings game.
yeah.
That call took forever.
Yeah, that pick.
And we saw him get picked off.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the stuff that's got to be quicker. Obviously the mound visits. So, it's just and some of it just isn't going to be quick because it's baseball. I mean, you get a bunch of walks, you get a big inning, you get runs and all that kind of stuff.
I mean,
But
I've never
then-
complained about it.
But then who's not wanting that stuff though? If you're a fan and they're scoring runs,
yeah.
you're there for it.
Right.
If it's a 0-0 game and it's dragging, I guess maybe.
But how many 0-0
But,
games
yeah.
drag?
I mean, usually when it's 0-0, it's
It's 1, 2,
3 up,
3,
3
1, 2,
down.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So
It's not like there's a lot of scoring situations.
So you got MLB and Players Association.
Yeah.
I have LSU's women's basketball.
Yeah.
Not being out on the court for the national anthem.
Okay.
That's a bad look. You can't tell me that they haven't been there before and that they don't know when that's going on.
I don't know. I mean,
I just didn't like it.
yeah, it's understandable.
I didn't like it. I just think the game would be better. So yeah, I don't know if that's Kim Mulkey, if that's just coaching staff or whatever, but you've been there before. You know when everyone's out there. You know when the national anthem is playing.
Yeah.
So whatever you were standing out for or trying to do, I don't know. I didn't want to see it. I hated to see it. So I would say they gotta be better. Veterans of the WNBA.
Oh yeah, they need to be better.
I would think that you would be more. I think there's a lot of jealousy right now.
Yeah. I don't know if it's jealousy or what it is, but it's
jealousy, envy. Well, I think
it's kind of pathetic.
I think it's jealousy just because of now, because Caitlin Clark and these stars are coming up. Now that they're getting televised, now that there's all this attention, to where before there wasn't the national television, there wasn't all the attention.
I can understand.
So I think their feelings are hurt. Like, hey, what are all these young girls doing now? But again,
they're lifting up your game.
You're a grown woman.
We're lifting up
okay.
Too. Yeah.
You're a veteran. Maybe you should act like a veteran and show them how the ropes go instead of already trying to almost knock them down before they get into the league.
Well, I have no problem with them saying it's going to be a whole different world.
Well, I think everyone expects you got to expect that.
Right?
Right?
NBA players have always done that. Like that shit's not going to fly when you're doing, all that stuff. But you can't go knocking somebody down when they're doing great things for your sport.
Yeah, and I just. There's a couple people,
and especially when it's a sport that has struggled to get the recognition that it's needed.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, when you're averaging 2,000 fans or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be averaging, say, 12 to 15,000 fans. How is that bad?
I don't know. I don't understand what they're...
And how is your games being on national television bad?
I know.
So for you to just, knock them down already and say, oh, they're not the GOAT or they're not this, and, they're going to have, awakening, all that kind of stuff. And obviously transition, yes. You're talking about
no shit, it's a different
college
game.
girls going to a professional
Pro
game.
and college,
I mean,
obviously.
that's transition anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's just the amount of hate is just, I don't know.
There's a lot of hate.
A
A lot of hate that shouldn't be happening.
A lot of hate that
lot of
shouldn't
hate.
be happening, and a lot more gratitude that should be happening.
It's a lot of hate in a volatile sport because it's not gotten a lot of recognition in years past with there being great players.
And I'm surprised about who's hating on who.
Yeah, it's not just name of run-of-the-mill people.
Right.
These are huge legendary
You're
players.
talking MVPs. You're talking,
iconic women players who are, I agree. They definitely have.
But don't hate the incoming group.
No, what is that going to do for your sport?
That is not. That's not going to help.
No, not at all. I don't understand that. No NBA players do that. You don't see LeBron knocking Wemby when he's coming into the league or anything like that.
No, it's a rite of passage. It's like you're handing the baton over to the next group.
Yeah.
So you want them to succeed.
Yeah. Or
you
keep
want
it behind
them to
closed
keep
doors.
Coming up. Yeah, if you want to haze them or make them wear the pink backpack or whatever it is that they do.
Yeah, everyone goes through their.
Then that's fine.
Has to pay their dues.
But again, when they're trying to propel women's sports and put a spotlight on women's sports and promote women's sports and get it televised and social media and all this other stuff to grow the game, but then you're hating on them, I have an issue with that.
Yeah, that's not going to grow the game in any way.
I mean,
and
there's too many people to mention who needs to be better on it, but I'll just say the WNBA women veterans need to be better. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Diana Taurasi. But she's not the only one. There's other ones.
No, but their show that they do while hosting the UConn Iowa game was just incredibly pathetic to watch them hating on. Now I get it, they're UConn players, but you can still be a UConn biased player without being a hater. Yeah,
because I mean, there's baseball announcers that love their team, but then also love baseball. Yeah, they're gonna give the opposition team their kudos for whatever they're doing, right? So pitcher strikes 12 of their guys out. He's gonna say, hey, hats off.
Yeah, you can't hate on a great player for not doing anything except being great.
So
and growing your brand in sport.
I don't like it. I didn't like it when it was starting to come out, and then we kind of talked about this last time, the Cheryl Swoops thing, and then now it's just kind of growing into more and more and more.
And those are legendary players.
And it's just the envy is just it's ugly, and I don't think it's needed.
It's a horrible look.
Yeah,
it's really a horrible look.
They should it should be arms wide open type of deal.
Yeah, it's gonna mess up.
Do what you do, young player. But there's rules, but do what you do.
Well, you can say, you're not gonna be able to do what you're doing the same way that you're doing it. Yeah. But what you're doing is great. Yeah. You can still acknowledge that.
Because it's almost division. You're dividing.
It's a complete division.
Yeah. So I mean, why even do that? So. And that was my big one, was the WNBA.
And then what happens if she goes into the WNBA and then busts all their ass, too? Now how bad do you look?
Yeah, I mean, so does she go onto a podcast or a show and say, hey, all you women that, hated me?
I wish, but she doesn't.
F you.
She won't. She's too nice.
No, she's not. I don't think she would do it.
That's the other thing. They're hating on a player who doesn't do anything wrong. All she does is play the game. She plays the game.
She plays the game. She plays it the right way. She's not in trouble. She's academically, there's
nothing controversial about her.
She's done everything that you want a 18 to 22-year-old person to do in life.
Yeah, I don't understand what could possibly be.
It's she's not getting, in trouble with the law. She's not, bragging or bringing down the university or bringing down her teammates or anything like that. It's just, I just think it's pure jealousy and envy of she's getting all this attention and then they aren't, and they weren't, but, I don't know, but we'll have to see if she can back it up too, though.
For sure. You have to back it up. For sure.
Do you think she will back it up?
Yeah, but I don't think she's dropping 30-point triple doubles every game like she did.
No. I think she could drop 30 points.
She'll be a hell of a player.
Yeah.
I think she'll be a hell of a player. But doing what she was doing in college was crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that'll happen, but regardless, she's gonna grow the game though. She already has.
I think she could easily be double. She could easily do, double points, double assists.
I don't know about easily, but I think she could definitely be like a 20-point scorer, averaging 8 assists and like 6 rebounds or something like that. And that's a hell of a player.
Defense is what she'll need to work on. Defensively.
They're gonna kill her on that. But
so she's gonna have to, work on that. But I mean, again, that's just,
she's also 22.
That's part of growing up and being in the game. I mean,
she's not asked to defend a whole lot at Iowa.
Yeah. So the veterans of the WNBA, that was my biggest.
Yeah, no,
you gotta be better.
That's
the LSU, I think you gotta be better. I just didn't like that look. And then I thought there was another one I had. Scott Boras, I think, and we kind of touched about this before. Jordan Montgomery just cut him loose.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be better on his demands, I guess. I mean, none of his 4 players got what they were looking for.
Yeah, but this is the first 4 players ever.
And then now one of his players isn't one of his 4 players. And, could the other 3 jump ship too because of it? I don't know. Is it Scott Boras' fault? I don't know. But
I think it's Scott Boras and also MLB organizations. I think it could all be applicable.
Yeah. So, and I had another one that I wanted to put on the list. But I got to write these down because sometimes there's so many that I forget about them, or sometimes there's ones that pop up and I'm like, oh, that one would be perfect for it. Cubby, you got to be better.
Yeah,
Cubby's on the list. So Wyndham Clark, his comment about the live golfers only playing 54 rounds, but yet then he only plays 36 rounds because he couldn't make the cut.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Taylor Gooch type of deal. Why even say that?
But it's not.
Really?
No, because Wyndham Clark has actually won.
Yeah, but if you're gonna say that those guys,
I agree. You better back your shit.
You better make the cut.
I agree.
You don't say that and then not make the cut, and then you look like an ass.
No, I agree.
You just got pie.
I agree. He should be better.
So,
especially because he's been playing great too.
Yeah,
he should be better.
I thought he would have been probably
he's
top
like
10.
number 4 in the world right now. So yeah, he should be better.
But to call out and say, "Oh, these guys aren't," they're not made for it just because they only play 54 holes. Whether you like the 54-hole play, format or not, but when you can't even make it to 36, past 36, you can't make it to 54. Shut up.
I agree.
So, and John Rahm's he's saying, hey, we should be, full 72, which, okay, if that's what people want, if that's what the fans want, then that's fine. Or if that'll help with the world rankings, then that's fine. But just the whole Wyndham Clark thing is just, I don't know.
No, I agree. If you're gonna say it, you better go out there and perform too, and show that you can play 54 holes, 72 holes, which he has shown. But
he has, but right after that comment, and then you can't make the cut.
You can't go talk.
So it's
like
go doing that. Yeah. I mean, that's just pretty shitty. And then one other one, Angel Hernandez, umpire. MLB.
Yeah, and then MLB needs to be better too.
Yeah,
how are we allowing
that? How is that happening?
It's still happening. It's just been happening.
And it's like, if I don't do my job, I'll get fired.
That's anybody.
If these guys don't do their job, oh well.
Well, that's what I've said. That's what I've said about umpires and NBA officials and stuff like that. There's no accountability for them.
And it's bad too.
It's really bad.
I mean, it is. I mean, some of the strikes that he's calling are just 6 inches outside.
And this is every year that we're talking about this.
And you're talking major league pitchers to where, obviously, they might get a half a ball outside, or maybe one. I don't even think they should get one ball outside.
No, your zone's your zone.
Your zone's a zone. If it's a strike, it's a strike. If you're outside the zone, then you're outside the zone.
It's hard enough to hit. So yeah.
But when you're talking 6 inches out, I mean,
It's in the left-hand batter box. It wasn't even close.
As a hitter, what do how do you hit against that?
No, umpire's not supposed to change the game.
And that's the whole thing. So, Angel Hernandez, you got to be better. Oh, there was one more. Sage Steele, who used to work for ESPN broadcaster. Now she's kind of doing her own thing. Whether you believe politically or whatever, or I know there was the whole lawsuit, but when you have a guest on your show, you better know who he is.
Yeah, that usually helps.
You can't call him someone else and think that that's okay. And I'm surprised he stayed. So if you guys don't know the thing, she had Dana White on her show, and the first question she said is, what's Joe Rogan's dream? And Dana White sips his water or whatever in his cup, and he's like, Joe Rogan's dream? And she looks, Dana White's dream. He's like, did you just think that was Joe Rogan? And she's all, yeah, I did. So, I mean, she admitted it, but...
Yeah, but don't do that.
If you have Dana White, you better call him Dana White.
If you have random Joe...
Yeah, I mean, if we were to have a guest show, if we were to have Dana White here, I wouldn't be asking him...
I'm not calling him Joe
Rogan
yeah.
Just because he's a white ball guy? Or Howie Mandel?
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, mistakes happen. Everybody makes mistakes, but that's
but you got one guest on your show right there. It's not like you got a room full of people.
And also, it's not like that's where you guys introduced each other.
Yeah.
There's no way that he just popped on the show, started recording, and then you started
you knew
meeting each other.
You knew Dana White was coming onto your show.
You reached out to him to get him on your show.
And I'm sure you did preparation and questions and your research. Hopefully you did some research. Or hopefully you did research on Dana White, not Joe Rogan. But holy shit.
Yeah.
You got to be better. So that was my other one, was the Sage Steele. So, but kudos to Dana White. He stayed and did the interview. I thought he would have gotten up and left.
Yeah.
I probably would have if someone mistaken me for someone else and be like, you don't even know who I am.
Why am I here?
See you later. So,
yeah.
So that's anyone else you got for You Gotta Be Better?
No, I don't think so.
All right, guys, that's all we got so far. Hopefully this wasn't too long. Well, over an hour again. So, we kind of went on a couple rants and that stuff. So, this again, hit like, subscribe. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Really, we'll only be talking probably basketball, some baseball, and hockey pretty much, I guess, right now, right? So, so playoffs. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. Peace out.